Hi, my name is Packy, creator of Pack Rat's Shack. I upcycle furniture, build out of pallet wood, finish interior spaces, and have a vendor booth for my creations. Welcome to my world.
Hello everybody out there. Welcome back to Pack Rat's Shack. Thanks for joining me today. In today's Chronicle, I want to show you how I ripped down some of the reclaimed wood I found out of the leftover scrap pile in order to build a pantry closet that is going to be right off of the kitchen area to provide more storage space for that area. While I'm at it, I see that there's a perfect size that I could rip down to also take care of a project in my bedroom out of the same boards that I'm ripping down for the pantry closet. So I kind of killed two birds with one stone. But you'll have to wait for the Chronicle on my bedroom to see the other cuts. So framing out the floor of this pantry will not only serve as a ceiling for the stairway as well, but it'll also help me get up to the attic space and finish insulating that tallest area of the house that the ladder itself wouldn't reach just off of the bottom platform of the stairs. This may be the best opportunity to point out that while doing my projects here all by myself, I've had to learn how to be in two places at one time. So it's been a challenge and it's been interesting, such as being on both ends of a board at the same time when it's longer than you are, so you can't really do that. But I've managed to figure out a way so far on every one of my projects, so yeah. I'm getting it done. Also, this is when I had a wee bit of a surprise happen upon me. Some of you might know about the surprise if you've seen my reel. I had already posted a story on him, but this is the actual moment when I first discovered him. And since then, he has been back and lingered around for about 3 days, so I ended up naming him Draco. I think that's a proper name, Draco the Snako.
Oh God, don't come towards me. All right, I was gonna put my saw away. I just got through cutting all of this stuff and he came up off of the embankment. But he's probably gonna keep going. Oh, goodness. And I just saw this big guy and got him out of the house. And then, but I would love to put my saw away before it started raining. I knew there'd be snakes here. I just thought if I was making noise up here, they wouldn't come up. He does not like the fact that that fly is on him. I think he's got a wound. And you know what? I heard the neighbors mowing today. And he does look a little distressed. Alrighty. He's gonna have to get further than that away from my saw before I try to put it away. So we're just gonna keep an eye on him so we know he's gone before I try to put my saw away.
Some of you guys might be wondering how I know it's the same snake. And it's because I really did keep a good eye on it to make sure that it got far enough away from my table saw that I could like pack my table saw up before rain started coming down. And I noticed that injury that was about 6 or so inches up from the tip of his tail. And this particular snake, when he came back and visited, it was about a week and a half later, and the flesh wound was healed, but you could still see that there was a damaged area there that had healed, and there was still kind of a heightened bump in that same area. So I'm pretty sure it's the same snake, and his name is Draco now.
Okay, I did manage to get my mess cleaned up. Saw put away. Stacked all of the little pieces kind of over here underneath my overhang. Not completely dry, but hopefully it won't get saturated. And the snake crawled along through here and then kind of went in the fire pit, and now he's underneath the bench. And there's a little hole right there that half of his body is down in. And I knew that piece of plywood had a hole in it, and I've sat there lots of times with my little feet hanging down, sitting right there. And now I'm hesitant to ever use it again. I wanted to start a fire and cook my supper on the fire pit tonight, but I'm not sure I'm gonna do that now. Actually, I know I'm not gonna do that now. I have been successful in using some of my pieces of wood left over from the construction site on my project today and getting them ripped down to size. So yeah, we'll just see how far that gets me.
Draco left the area about 2 days before my mom came on her next visit, and we ended up saturating the area with a snake repellent in order to attempt to keep him away, because I think that he has a right to out there in the woods and do his hunting or whatever he wants to do, but I would like him to stay away from the house. And every time I go out, obviously I gotta look around and be very, very cautious, because copperheads aren't anything to just toy around with. And yes, I really did need the help to do the snake repellent. You would think that would be a job one could do by oneself, right? Not here. I can't be on the pressure switch at the well and on the end of the hose at the same time. And right now our pressure switch is faulty, so you can only get a half a gallon out of it at one time, which means you're running back and forth, and it takes 2 trips to fill up a gallon off of the faucet. And when I've tried to water the front bank, it's been about 20 trips back and forth. And since I had to put down repellent all the way around the house, which is 8 times more than just the bank, yeah, it just wouldn't have been efficient if someone wasn't also able to be in there just holding the pressure switch open. So we're still waiting for the builders to return and switch that out, as well as a few other fixes from their end that need addressed right away. This particular build has a lot of different working components that need to be thought through as I'm building it. As usual, I have an idea in my head. It's not like I've sketched it out or planned it out. I'm visually figuring it out and measuring it as I go and making it work. That's just how I work. So if it's not up to your, I don't know, creativity or standards, I'm sorry. This is just how I work with the products I have on hand. It's not as simple as here's a space, build yourself a pantry within it. I have to figure out how to get the angle right for the ceiling, how to make a floor off of that angle, and get the most usable space out of it, with it all having to be at that proper ceiling height for the stairway as well. There also needs to be decisions made on how to redirect the wiring to get lighting inside the pantry. And also there needs to be a plan on how to access the pantry easily after you're moved into the space, which isn't shown in this video because that will be kind of in the finishing details. Now I'm to the point of figuring out my electric. Since this pantry is an addition, the lighting isn't where it needs to be, so I need to reroute it and find my own path into the center of the ceiling for my pantry light. So I have built the main framing for what will be a pantry area off of the front door. This is for extra storage off of the kitchen area, and I did route me some wiring in to get a center light. But what struck me this morning while I was waking up and my mind was racing was this area here that would be a wall could actually be transitioned. You see how deep it is. It has a space between one wall and the exterior wall. I'm not sure why that is, but it turns out that it would probably be pretty neat to make some shelving in these areas or some kind of storage within those areas so that I can get as much usage out of that space as possible. So today I'm going to try to get going on that part of the pantry. So now it's the drywalling, and really drywalling isn't that hard. If anyone out there is intimidated about doing some of their projects that they've had a desire to do but just haven't jumped the hurdle and done it yet, drywalling would be a good place to start. Because really it's very forgiving. I mean, it's easy enough to cut. If you're off a little bit, it can be corrected easy enough, and there are many layers of mud and then a final sanding to do to perfect the surface area. So you really can end up with a really good looking surface when you're all done. You might end up having to sand more than a pro would, but it's easy to sand dried mud, so you can't really screw it up. You can always put mud back on and then sand again, of course. Maybe it just takes patience, and maybe everybody doesn't have patience, so it takes the desire of wanting to be a part of your own home, I guess. And somebody did ask me, why am I doing all of this? They didn't quite understand my chronicles, and I understand there's workers out there that can do that. I am one of those workers. That's what I did on the inside of people's houses. So maybe the desire for me on wanting my own hands in my own house with the finishing details is just really high in on my bucket list. It's something I've always wanted to do, is have as much of my hands-on in my house as possible. And this is the first opportunity that I've had from the shell out. If I was a little bit younger, I think I would have also wanted to see how I could have gotten on the framing crew and been a part of the framing. That's just something that's always been within me, is wanting to have my hands in my house that I live in. And obviously this pantry job isn't really a very big drywalling job. It's really simple to get to. Most of the pieces are small. Some of you out there might be wondering, how did I drywall the whole house? Well, there will be an upcoming chronicle that shows you how I drywalled this whole house by myself. Well, here you have it. Here's my pantry all framed out. And of course, I have plenty of time to figure out a functional organizational system within it once I get to the finishing out of this house. But this is a good structural set of bones to start working off of. I think the most difficult build of this whole pantry closet is going to be when I'm attempting to build a drop-down set of stairs for an easy access way in and out of it. I'm thinking I'm going to have to do a little bit of research online and try to check out to see if I can come up with any plans on that. Well, I hope you found this chronicle insightful and have the inspiration to see what you can do out of any wasted space you have. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you. I appreciate your time. And until next time, stay safe out there.